Okay, so I figure we'll come and visit the gooseberry once more, and this time I got some gooseberries on it and they didn't get picked clean. Now last year I tried to shoot a video on it and all my gooseberries got cleaned off the plant and I couldn't do a taste test. Now these really aren't ready yet. You really got to wait until they start getting a little bit on the orange side or the red side. Then they're really edible. At this point, they're really not edible, I don't think, but we'll try one anyway. They're a little hard right now. I'll pick one though and eat it green. You really shouldn't be eating them when they're this green though. I don't think they're toxic. They're not going to be very tasty. But what I'll do is I'll try to stitch this video up once they turn red. I will stitch this video to the end of it, and then that way you get the full video. But I want to show it to you now so you can see what it looks like when they're green. And so these are the gooseberries. Give you a good view of that. Let me rip this plant out of my way. Freaking weeds. Oh man. Okay. Here's a good view of it. Those are the gooseberries. Now they're not ripe yet, but they will get a nice pink, light red color. They don't really get too dark red, but they do get a red, and that's when they're at their sweetest. So that's really when you want to pick them. But as you can see, I got a pretty good amount of them on here, you know, all the way around. This is a great plant to grow if you're looking for something, an alternative to blueberries and grapes and things like that. This is a great plant for that. And it's pretty hardy. It's cold hardy. I mean, it gets cold up here, you know, maybe 10 below zero for, you know, a week at a time at 10 below zero. So if it can withstand that, then this is pretty cold hardy as far as I'm concerned. Now, I don't know if it'll survive any colder than that, but I would imagine it probably could. So I'll give you a top view of it. That's what it looks like here. It can get pretty tall. Not real tall, but like, you know, maybe 5 feet, maybe 6 feet if you let it grow. And it's got pretty much berries all around it. Some of them look like they've been picked off already by some of the animals here. The rabbits and the other animals seem to be able to get to most of them, but I think I'll be able to do a review on the actual berry this year and not get skunked out like I did last year. But just wanted to give you a quick view of it now, and then we'll revisit it once those berries become a little bit more red and pink. We'll pick some and taste test them for you. All right, so I'll see you in a bit. All right, so we're finally to that point where we can actually do a taste test on the gooseberry. Now, quite a bit of my gooseberries have been eaten. I'm not happy about that. So the animals here are really, really big on eating gooseberries, and they pretty much stripped this tree down to the bone. This thing was loaded with gooseberries. If you look at the earlier part of the video, you can see how many gooseberries are on it, and then you look at it now, and there's only a few left. So gooseberries seems to be a very popular dinner menu item for the wildlife. That's good and that's bad. So one bush is not really going to do you a whole lot of good. If you're going to grow this and you have a problem with animals coming in to proliferate on your gooseberries, you're going to want to grow a dozen of these bushes so you can get a decent amount of gooseberries. Now, some of the gooseberries look like they just, I don't know, probably got a fungus, and it looks like the birds is what are eating them, to be honest with you. The birds are pecking them and they're eating them. The birds pretty much ate all my blueberries off my plant. I have no more blueberries left. They picked my blueberries clean this year. My strawberries got picked clean. I will not be growing those again up in this area without some kind of protection on it. But anyway, this video is about the gooseberry. And so the reason why I'm shooting this part of the video, which is, I don't know, from the first half of the video, that first half of the video was, oh, I don't know, about a month and a half earlier. And what you're looking at now is we're in July 9th or 10th or something like that. So what you're looking at here is much later. And they're finally ripened. They were probably starting to ripen earlier. I just haven't got around to getting back here to actually do a video on this. But we're going to pick some of these. This is what they look like when they're ripened. Let's get in the light here. I cannot see in the camera at all, so I don't know what you're seeing, folks. But this is what they look like when they're ripened. And there's a nice pink one right here. And when you squeeze on them, they're not so hard anymore. They're kind of getting somewhat soft but bouncy, almost like a firm grape is what they feel like. So that's about when they're ready to be picked. And they're very hard to come off the plant. You can see it broke the whole bract off. So they're kind of a pain in the neck to get off. And that might be why there's still a few left on there. But we're going to eat this one right here. Let's take a bite, see what that thing tastes like. Very nice. Here's an unripened one. I might as well eat that one too. It's not fully ripe. It's got a little pink in it, but we'll see if that has any flavor. I'll describe the flavor. I've got a few more I'm going to pick. I'll eat those, and then we'll see if I can describe the flavor from them. Oh, not bad actually. Okay. Flavor. A little bit floral. Tastes almost a little bit like a very light flavored type of, I don't know. The texture of it's like a grape, but the flavor is floral in nature, and it's not exactly tastes like a grape, but very light sweetness, kind of a grape flavor. I got another one here. I'm going to eat that one. It's reminding me of something. I can't place it. The skin on it is very tangy, like when you eat a grape. If you ever eat a grape, and you get down to the skin, you start chewing the skin, this very tangy flavor starts coming out of the skin. It definitely just like that, exactly like that actually. But the flavor is similar to something. I can't quite place it. It's starting to really make me wonder here. And I'm going to pick some of these berries too. And I'm going to bring them in. I'm going to seed them. And then we're going to start more of these plants from seed. So I'm going to keep some of these berry seeds. Let me grab another one here. If I leave them on here, the birds are just going to wipe them out anyway, so why? See that on the end of my finger? This plant is loaded with thorns, just like that. You see how it's sticking out of my finger? That's nasty. It doesn't hurt, but let's give it a go. It's got a slight raspberry type flavor to it, very slightly, like a wild raspberry. It has a very slight raspberry flavor, but the texture of a grape, the skin is like the grape of a grape. It's kind of tangy and sour, and it's very mild in sweetness. It's not a heavily sweet type of thing that you would eat. Definitely edible, very good for foraging. I highly recommend this if you want to grow these and get a lot of them. They're definitely worth eating. I like them. I could eat these things all day long, actually. Only thing I don't like is they get this this thing on the end of it. You have to make sure you get that off, the flower part, and then you eat it. Yeah, it's got a slight raspberry flavor, believe it or not. Very slight raspberry flavor. Very, very nice thing. Now, it does have a lot of seeds in it, so it's very seedy. My mouth is seeds all over my mouth. I got to brush my teeth now because they're probably sticking in my teeth, and it looks like I got stuff in between my teeth. There's a lot of seeds in this thing, but definitely worth growing. I would definitely grow this again as one of my preferred, I don't know, survival foods or foraging plants. Like, you know, once I move here and I get another piece of property, I will be going to be, you know, filling the property full of raspberries and blackberries and grapes and this, because I like to forage for my food, and I need a lot of it. When it comes to these berries, 3 berries isn't really enough to feed you guys. You got to eat handfuls of these things. So I will definitely be giving this a go again. I definitely like this plant. I will start a small series starting these from seeds, providing I can get some of these seeds to pollinate and start. I mean, I should have gotten some volunteers come up from here, from berries from the past, and so far I don't see any of them. So I never got any volunteers from it. But we are going to try to grow this again and grow it in pots, and then eventually bring that with me when I move. And I'll also try to see if the seeds will sprout and give me viable plants from seed as well, because if I can do it either way, I'll probably just do the seed because it's just less for me to move. But yeah, we'll do a small series on how to start this from seed, and we'll take you through the whole step, and we'll also do a small video series on how to start it from a cutting. Now this is old wood. There's like one branch here is new, so I could probably do it from this, but you really don't want to start your cuttings from old wood. It's much more difficult to get root out of it. And then we'll use the willow tree as a root hormone to get these plants to root. So I'll show you the whole process in doing that. All right, so that was just a quick taste test on the gooseberry or glowberry. When I bought this plant, I believe it was under the name glowberry. That's originally what they sold it to me as. But after several people reviewed a video that I showed them, they're like, no, that is absolutely a gooseberry. I'm like, no way. They're like, yeah, it's a gooseberry. That is a gooseberry. It's very common. It grows up here in this part of the United States, and so on and so on. It's a gooseberry. What you got is a gooseberry, and not a, whatever you called it, glowberry. Several people were adamant on it, and they were absolutely correct. So we will definitely do a video series on planting these from seed, and we'll do a cutting video, and we'll see if we could get it started that way. And whether I take the plants with me or not, I mean, if the seeds grow, well, good, we'll just plant them around the yard and other places. But if the cuttings grow, again, we'll either take it with me or plant it. But if not, and the seeds sprout and they grow, well, I'm just going to bring the seeds with me. So it's a win-win no matter what I do, right? So like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.